Okay, what is that? What do you want?
Ventus, you need to finish a Zelda game.
Not right now. What does he want now?
Ventus! Play Ocarina of Time.
Fine, alright. Dear God, you didn't have to throw that at me.
The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time was released in 1998 for the Nintendo 64. It was the first Zelda game in full-on 3D, which was very impressive for the time, since Link was going from this to this. Revolutionary. Now I'm going to talk about my little bit of history with the Zelda series as a whole. The first Zelda game I played was, drumroll please, Link's Crossbow Training. I'm not sure if it really counts as a Zelda game, but I really enjoyed it. After that, I ended up playing a little bit of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. I always got lost in them though, and never made it to a single dungeon.
Man, do I feel bad for the kids in the 90s who had to play these games without a guide because their parents didn't love them enough.
Not long after that, I ended up finding The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess at a local computer store.
Yeah, so we've got this computer that runs at like the speed of a PS3, and it's like $500, and it's from, 2012, and we've also got some sort of Zelda Wii game in the back for like $15. I don't even know what it is and what it's doing here, but it's in the back. Your choice.
Just let me quickly see how much I have in my wallet.
I'll take the Twilight Princess.
Due to the video game ecosystem I created for myself at the time, if I was stuck on a game or just couldn't beat the game at all, then I was gonna sell it, because I didn't really see much value in just leaving a game sit there when I couldn't even complete it.
Oh boy, did I get myself out of that habit.
That was summer of 2016. After Christmas of 2017, I ended up picking up The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD for the Wii U, and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time for Wii U Virtual Console. Luckily, by the time I got myself a Wii U, I was more in a collector's mindset, so I didn't end up selling The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, and you can't really sell a Virtual Console game. With Wind Waker, I actually made it a few dungeons in. As for Ocarina of Time, I made it inside the Great Deku Tree and got lost. Finally, in August, I thought enough was enough. So I grabbed 3 friends who hadn't ever beaten Ocarina of Time, and 2 of them had never even beaten a Zelda game, and we all played through Ocarina of Time together. I had with me the Nathan 709, Delphinarina, and I tried to get Josh Peck, but unfortunately, I didn't have enough money to get him, so I just grabbed Jack Division. So, we were originally gonna all play it together only on call, but then the end of summer vacation was like,
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
so without further ado, let's get into the game. So, we start off with Navi waking up our main protagonist, Link, because he isn't a cool kid yet because he doesn't have a fairy, and I guess that's a legal requirement in the Kokiri Forest. I'm not sure how the legality system works in a place with only a bunch of children though. Speaking of that, why is there only a bunch of children there? There's no adults at all, and they might end up killing each other. Anyways, soon as we leave Link's house, we run into Saria. She's like, wow, you got a damn fairy? Now you can finally rejoin society. Also, the Great Deku Tree summoned you. Not sure if you wanted to know that or not, but I think it might be important. I'm not sure. So we go to see the Great Deku Tree, but this kid is like, you need a damn sword and shield. You are telling me this damn tree is summoning me while keeping me and all these other children here, is summoning me, but the kid is like, nope, you can't go out till you have these items, even though their leader summoned me. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. After legitimately manipulating the game for about 15 minutes, we got the rupees to buy a Deku shield, and then we have to go pull a solid snake to go grab the Kokiri sword. Then we finally arrive at the Great Deku Tree. Okay, so a legitimate sentient tree is in charge of a bunch of children. Okay, I'm just gonna turn off all logic for now. It's time to go inside the Great Deku Tree. Your first task as soon as you get in is to climb up the wall and then jump down to break the spider webs, so that way you can access the lower level of the Great Deku Tree. I got a little pissed off at the spiders that just kept knocking me off, but besides that, I didn't find it that hard. They were a big part of why I dropped the game back in the day, because they kept pissing me off though. I'm guessing my younger child self didn't know what the slingshot was, but it made things hell of a lot easier. Down on the bottom floor, you just gotta shoot a couple things and go through a couple rooms and solve a few simple puzzles, which you know is fine if you know what you're doing. Just a reminder, it took me around 5 years to beat Kingdom Hearts 1. That being said, I started using ZeldaDungeon.com's guide whenever I got stuck. I will leave a link to it in the description. They aren't sponsoring this video though. Finally, we reach Queen Goma, which, you know, took me a few tries, but nothing that made me want to strangle a small child. After this, we obtain the stone from the Great Deku Tree because some man was after it, and then the Great Deku Tree dies. Guess we're gonna have a Kid Nation type situation. As soon as you leave, we legit unlock one of my favorite parts of the game, the Ocarina. I love this mechanic. Having to play certain songs to make things happen in the game is honestly really cool. Anybody with at least one brain cell will know that the Zelda music is absolutely astonishing. Legit, my friends and I were all getting chills from the title screen and save menu music because of nostalgia. Even though we didn't even play these games a lot growing up, but we were surrounded by them a lot. Zelda's Lullaby is legit one of the most relaxing and most calming pieces of music I have ever heard. Enough about the music, even though it is amazing. We are now at Hyrule Field and enter the gates of the Hyrule Kingdom. First thing you'll notice as soon as you enter, there's a lot going on. We got the dancing couple, the twin jugglers, a drug addict, and a few random people just kind of chilling throughout Hyrule Market. They honestly make the game feel a lot more alive, and without them there, the game wouldn't feel the same. Among all these people, there is a young girl named Marlin who tells you that her dad went to go get milk. Damn, I know how that feels. She then tells us that she thinks that he fell asleep at Hyrule Castle, so we go check there. After making it to Hyrule Castle, when we go try to go in, we get stopped by the guards. So what do? Explain to the guards why you're here? No. We trespass, of course.
Trespassing, hell yeah.
So after breaking the law, we find Marlin's dad, who somehow fell asleep while getting the milk. Finally, we run into Princess Zelda, who explains to you that you need to find all the spiritual stones before Ganondorf does. Wait, is this man Thanos or something? She then teaches us Zelda's Lullaby, which I talked about earlier, you know, because it's amazing. Now we head to Kakariko Village and into the graveyard, which after playing Zelda's Lullaby by the gravestone with the Triforce on it, it opens a way to the lower level. Down there we learn the Sun Song, which, you know, just kind of changes the time of day, but it's very useful throughout the game because sometimes enemies will only come out at night in some areas, and some shops are only open during the day or night. While in Kakariko Village, there is this stupid part where you have to help this lady collect her chickens. And to be honest, I could care less about that lady and her damn chickens, so I skipped over that. Now, before we continue on with the game, I'd like to quickly mention the golden sculptulas. I recommend that you collect them, and at least 30 of them. There are 100, but if you're not going for 100% through your first playthrough of the game, then I recommend trying to get 30, because they unlock some pretty necessary items in the game. I collected around 40, but there's around 100 as I said. Now we head into Goron City into Dorina's chamber and play Saria's song for him, and we get this lovely animation. I'm kinda concerned, but not at the same time. We now go to Dodongo's cavern, and can we just appreciate the way you open the doorway? Straight up terrorism. After blowing up a few more doorways, we run to Gex. ×2 because why not? I was told to get a shield for this fight, not knowing that my friends were talking about this specific fight, and I legit kept slashing them until they were dead. Rest of this fight was just Gex and dying in lava for me. Honestly, Gex is probably my favorite enemy in the game. Why, you may ask?
No reason.
As for King Dodongo,
I've got nothing.
now we're on Jabu Jabu's belly. Well, damn Princess Ruto lost her damn prized copy of the room inside Jabu Jabu and her father wants you to go in and save her. Let's just say this wasn't fun. Except for the few times I got to throw her. Baronade took a few attempts for me to get how it worked, but after I got the hang of it. I got a little creeped out that Princess Ruto claimed you as hers.
Some fanfic writer out there is gonna get pissed at me.
Oh yeah, she ended up getting her prized copy of the room back. We return to Hyrule Castle where we see Princess Zelda being whisked away on a horse. As that is happening, she throws the Ocarina of Time. After we retrieve the Ocarina of Time out of the lake. Is this what it feels like to get the newest iPhone? We go to the Temple of Time to get the Master Sword, which makes us commit puberty.
Here we are in the future. Here we are in the future, and it's bright. Nothing to fear, no.
While there we meet Sheik, aka Totally Not Zelda, and just kind of vibe. Next is my favorite area in the game, aka the Forest Temple. The Forest Temple is legit one of my favorite forest areas out of all video games that I've played. I really enjoyed the puzzles and even the backtracing was kind of enjoyable. The music though is what got me. It brings such a sense of wonder and mysteriousness. Now, what I consider my favorite bosses here, Phantom Ganon. The mechanic with this boss is so interesting, how he jumps in and out of paintings, and you have to keep track of where the real Phantom Ganon is so you can shoot him with your arrows. Which may I point out is an unused asset that was used in Mario 64 and was a concept to be used in Ocarina of Time where Link was supposed to jump into paintings to go to different areas.
Hell yeah, I've always wanted to jump into the Mona Lisa. Okay, here we go.
Yeah, maybe that wasn't the best idea. Next time I'll just rob an art museum. I really enjoy the mechanism where he would send his projectiles at you and you'd hit them back at him. So basically, we play in tennis. The Legend of Zelda Ultra Smash for the Xbox One. Then you just play tennis till he's dead. Now onto the Fire Temple. Please don't kill me, but I did not like the Fire Temple at all. The best part was when we saw Sheik again and then just kind of vibed. I just don't like when I'm constantly faced with my boy Link being constantly barbecued. The boss was pretty decent. Besides, the fire. It took me a few attempts, but it was overall okay. You just kind of bonk him on the head while he's in the ground. We are on the ice cavern now, and...
The ice cavern is so bad. I'm trying to play a Zelda game. Not New Super Mario Bros. U! Dear God, it's almost like I'm on a constant slip and slide. Oh my gosh. Whoa!
Yeah, let's move on. So now we go back into the past and into Kakariko Village. And let me just say, I feel restricted after playing as Adult Link for so long. We go to the bottom of the well and we walk through these walls, then get the lens of truth. So that way we don't look like we're walking through walls anymore. Now is the Water Temple. There's a lot of backtracing, there's a lot of enemies, hookshotting, and drowning.
Wait a second. Drowning? Oh god.
As for the boss,
I don't really have anything to say here. Everybody always tells me the Water Temple is cringe, to the point where I get 5 calls per day telling me that the Water Temple is cringe. Speaking of...
Hey Ventus, the Water Temple is cringe.
That was number 3.5.
Both the water and fire temple weren't the most enjoyable, but it wasn't to the point where I don't ever want to go back and play through the game. The shadow temple was pretty good, and I like the vibe it gives off. It reminds me a little bit of the Nightmare Before Christmas world in Kingdom Hearts, except I actually enjoyed it.
You fucking little shit. Ventus, I swear you're gonna diss not only the best adaptation of the best movie of our time. Are you serious? What is fucking wrong with you? Everyone knows that Halloween Town is the most perfectly adapted part of Kingdom Hearts 1, okay? Everyone knows that. And then, in Kingdom Hearts 2, they did an even better job. So what are you talking about? They took the fairly condensed amount of stuff they had to put from that film to reference, and they crammed it all into that one space. And you're gonna say that Ocarina of Time Shadow Temple is better? Fuck you, Ventus. What the shit? What? You're gonna diss this beautiful place, see? See? Huh?
Take this.
We get the light boots that allow you to float in the air for a very short amount of time, and they are necessary to get to certain parts of the game. The boss was pretty alright. It was difficult to the point where I could still enjoy it, but it was nothing to the point where I was like,
I'm done. See ya.
But it was interesting to see how the game utilized the lens of truth in order to see the boss. It reminds me of a certain boss in Super Mario Odyssey. After heading into Gerudo Valley, beating the Feminist 3, turning into a child, pulling a Solid Snake, and turning back into an adult, we are finally doing the Spirit Temple. Let me just say, if you're the type of person who likes to push large objects to reflect onto creepy sun faces on the wall, you'll have a real doozy of a time with this one. The boss was honestly my favorite part of the Spirit Temple because it was so interesting, reflecting the fire and ice from the boss and using it against it. It was a little hard, but I got the hang of it. A lot of people consider it their favorite part of the game, but it was honestly pretty meh for me. I'm overall neutral about it. It wasn't my favorite, but also wasn't my least favorite. We meet back up with Sheik, and drum roll please. Sheik is Zelda. Not even 2 damn seconds after she reveals herself to be Zelda, she gets trapped by Ganon in this rupee type thing. Finally, we have Ganon's castle, one of the best video game endings in my opinion. I enjoyed going through all the rooms with the singular puzzles, resulting in the unlocking of the final door to Ganon. The first phase of the Ganon boss is kinda tedious, and there is a lot of falling and climbing, falling and climbing, and falling and climbing, and falling and climbing, and falling and climbing, and tennis. And light arrows, smack, rinse and repeat. Finally, we free Zelda and the castle starts to crumble, and we have to guide Princess Zelda out of it.
Princess, this place is going down. We gotta go.
After that slight delay, we get the princess out and run to Ganon's final phase. He immediately grabs the Master Sword from Link and just flat out yeets it. Now I didn't collect that other blade, I forget what it's called, so I just pulled the Fix-It Felix. Until Ganon had his guard down. At that point, I grabbed the Master Sword and let him have it. Now during my time playing the game, I ended up being too busy, so it took me 2 months to beat the game. My friends stayed up with me that night watching me complete the game, and when it was all done, I felt like one of the biggest journeys I dreamed of as a Nintendo fan had been completed. The music throughout the ending cutscene made me feel like I had actually accomplished something. Zelda then tells you to go back to your own time and continue your life, and that's where it ends. Link wasn't just focused on getting a princess back like how Mario is in most of his games. He wasn't only saving Zelda, but he was saving the entirety of Hyrule. Ocarina of Time, it was such a great experience. Did I stress? Yes. Did I enjoy it? Hell yeah. As much as I struggled in some parts, the good parts were so good. The dungeons were amazing, the music was amazing, and especially the story. I will never forget Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina of Time was the first Zelda game that I completely played. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to take a break from Zelda for a bit and go back to what I was doing before.